Hi guys, welcome to today's video. I know I did a peace lily propagation last week. Well, it wasn't a propagation, it was like a reshuffle, and I looked at my other peace lily and I was like, she needs one too, so I may as well film one. And then I tried to film another video about winter care tips for houseplants. Oh my god. Basically this was the shot. So I had to redo it, and I thought what I would do is just sort this out. It's in soil, so it's going to be a little bit different. It's not massively different, it's certainly going to be messier. And then go through a few houseplant care tips for winter and sort this plant out too. If you watched the last video, you'll remember I put a towel down. I was very proud of myself. I've actually made the conscious decision not to put a towel down because it's soil. Now, I know this sounds counterintuitive, but basically she doesn't need any more soil in there. She's got plenty of soil. And I found that having it on a smooth surface like my desk makes it easier to get the soil all back together in one place. I may live to regret this, but I have already got the vacuum cleaner in the corner, so I am kind of ready to go-ish. So this is my variegated peace lily, and she stopped being variegated a while ago, like the odd leaf is. And I thought it was a light issue, so I moved her from my bathroom into my old hallway. And she's currently in the bathroom again, and it's a south-facing window. And she was growing fine. It was cold in there, but the light was good. It was like south-facing, but a nice, like, a bathroom window, like a frosted one. And then still no variegated leaves, but she was growing. And there was a post on Facebook about a philodendron Paraiso Verde, and apparently the variegation in those is governed by warmth, and I was like, so I'm gonna sort her out a bit, spread her out, and then put her, I think, in my bedroom, also south-facing but warmer than my bathroom. So hopefully I can get the variegation back, we'll see. Right, now I'm gonna make a massive mess. I'm already kind of regretting not having anything down here. I say we live and learn, I don't seem to. Right, this water is not safe. You go there. So the reason I want to sort this out is this peace lily has, basically there's a plant in the middle that's died off. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I think it was just old. I'm guessing it was like the original plant. She just needs sorting out, and I've not had a chance to look at her roots. These parts are self-watering. Not that I'm not a fan of them. You can't put a plant in them that needs to dry out a lot, but also I wouldn't trust them to stay evenly moist. So they need to go with a plant that isn't that fussed. Well, there was pond in the bottom of that. What I wanted to do, what would be ideal would be to fill the bottom with leca, but you can't because it won't sit in the bottom properly. I can't complain about it too much. Clearly, like, the plant is fine and it's not root bound at all. Ooh, the kilo mushroom. I'm trying to be gentle, like getting the roots out of the bottom, but at some point I'm going to get bored and just yank. Avert your eyes if it bothers you. Oops. Yeah. That can go back in there. I'm going to put some of the pond back in the middle. I'm not that bothered about it all getting mixed up. What I might do, what I'm going to do is get some leca and just put a layer of leca on it. Yeah. That's another mushroom, but it looked like an alien creature. So now what I'm going to do is just pull the plant apart, basically. If you wanted to do this with a knife, that would be a way of doing it. I don't think there's like a good way of doing it. I mean, these plants aren't designed for this to happen to them all. So I think the most important thing to remember about caring for your plants in winter is balance. If you've got a really humid room, great, but if it's cold, that's just going to cause mold and stuff. It's like if you've got really bright light and it's cold and dry, you're just going to end up kind of stressing your plants out because they feel like they should be growing, but also it's too cold. Leaf loss is perfectly normal, especially in plants that do have more of a seasonal approach to life. You know, that have a natural dieback cycle. I think I might actually have to get a knife to this. I don't want to. Plants are so weird. They've sucked the pon up right into the middle. Like, you can tell where the original plant was. Like, it was root bound when I bought it, so I repotted it and it has grown out. Like, this bit's all grown into the new soil, but there's still the old pot shape and all the pond's been like sucked up into the middle. It's very strange. There's a lot of advice about fertilising, whether you should or whether you shouldn't. If your house is warm and your plants don't know it's winter, go ahead and fertilise. If they're not growing, don't fertilise them. If you don't know, either leave them, I mean it won't hurt them, or add some worm castings. You can repot them if you want in fresh soil, as long as you're gentle, they won't be that bothered. But like, I'm kind of regretting doing this. She's one of those plants I've just kind of we've got this understanding that she does her own thing and I leave her alone, and I feel like I violated that. Like, I never have any trouble off her. She used to live, this is really mean, she used to live, because she lives in the bathroom, she lived with all the thrips plants, because that's where my thrips plants live. She never gets thrips. Occasionally I find the other one on her, but peace lilies are just, I'm guessing, not particularly tasty to bugs. Okay, this is one of those things that I didn't want to do, but really needed doing. It's really, really tight in there, which is fine. It doesn't damage the plant, but it just makes care a little bit more difficult. Plants do not care how tight they are in the pot. At all. All they care about is that they can get what they need to live, and as long as you're making sure they can get enough water, it's fine. It doesn't matter how root bound they are. The issue comes when you can't get the water in them. Like this plant, I can't bottom water because whilst there is a hole in the bottom, it kind of goes up into the pot. I don't know if you can see that. Another thing I've started to recommend to people to do in winter is don't water your plants so thoroughly. It is good practice to water plants thoroughly, but the problem in winter is the water gets cold and water takes a lot more energy to heat up than... Oh, what the hell is that? Oh, it's just more pond. If you water your plants more often but with less water, so there's not so much water in them at one time, then they won't get so cold. Obviously, if you live somewhere it doesn't get that cold, disregard this advice. But here in the UK, it's generally fine indoors most of the time, but it has been, we have had a few like cold snaps this year. This does not want to come apart. Right, so I've now taken off the old soil and this is essentially the pot that it came in. I also don't tend to recommend propagating in winter. I am currently propagating a lot. I'm doing it in the warm rooms of my house, and this plant is going to move from the bathroom into the bedroom. It's not a big shock, but she will have a severe change in circumstances, but it should be positive, so she shouldn't actually go into shock. We'll see, won't we? There's a little baby one here that really wants to... Oh god. Okay, that's fine. They're all joined to the big dead corm in the middle, so whilst it's every time there's like a massive crack, I'm like, oh my god, but it's just coming from the dead one in the middle. So you can see now, this is the dead one that I kind of want to pull out, but I think what I'm going to have to do is pull all the young ones off it and be left with that. And it seems like all these little tiny roots are all coming off the big one in the middle. That's what that snapping is. It's not this, it's coming off that. It's not as dead as it looks. It just needs a lot of layers. Yeah, if you peel all the dead layers back off it, it's covered in this like fibrous stuff. You can see growth underneath. So I'm going to plant it back up, considering I hated so much on these pots, and I don't think they're very good, but the soil is like perfectly evenly moist, so maybe they are all right. I am covered in soil, my nails are gross, I can only apologise. I'm going to use this because it will rot down the old roots. Now, this is the kind of thing that people tell you not to do because it will result in gnats, and they are correct. However, gnats are fine for us because we have a terrarium that has a frog in it that eats them. So I'm just gonna... I don't want this one back in the middle. I want it on the edge. I don't know why, I just do. So I'm just going to bury that one there. So whilst we're watching me wrestle with this plant, I'll just go through a couple more winter houseplant care tips that I've not already mentioned. So another one that I don't really see people mentioning, but I think it is important, is to try as far as you can to keep the leaves of your plant dry. As I said, water tends to make the surrounding area a lot colder than it would be if it was not there. Good words, Caroline. So if you're spraying down for pests or dusting your plants, then try to do it as dry as you can. If you're dusting, just use microfiber cloth. The makeup removal cloths do a fantastic job of getting dust off. And if you're spraying for pests, just wipe down the leaves afterwards with a dry cloth. Or if you're feeling a little bit extra, you can dry it down with a blow dryer, but use obviously like a cool breeze and don't get too close to it. A cool breeze. Use the cold one. What's it called? Use the cold setting on your hairdryer, otherwise you will risk burning your plants. If your cold setting is cold, mine isn't, it's slightly warm, then just use like the coolest of the warm one. And another thing is take plants out of the bathroom or out of cold, especially cold windows. Windows are a cold suck, like it's tends to be the coldest part of the house. That's why radiators are under them. It's to create a nice kind of balance. And there's a scientific reason, but I can't remember it right now, but just trust me, it's real. Your plant would prefer to have a little bit less light and be warmer. I mean, ideally it would prefer it not to be winter, but you know. I definitely recommend taking them out of the bathroom, but in terms of windows, just move them a little bit further away. I do keep some plants in my bathroom all winter. Monstera dubia, who just doesn't seem to care, and my peace lily, as I said, I've just moved that one. But that's just an experiment to see if the variegation will come back. She tends to be fine in the winter in the bathroom. You might think I'm burying them too low in the soil, but what you can do, this is not the tidiest way to do it, but it does work, is bury them and then pull them up. I've just found that's the easiest way to deal with multiple cuttings. Now, peace lilies hate being repotted, so this one is going to be very, very sad for the next however long it decides to punish me for. It really depends. This one, she can be a bit of a madam. What I am going to do is really compact the soil down, and I know that's not like best practice, but it will. You can always like poke around in it and uncompact it later. But when a plant's been used to being compacted and used to having a lot of sort of soil around its roots, you're not going to help it by uncompacting it. There's a lot of perlite in this and a decent amount of pond, so she should be fine in terms of like getting oxygen. I've basically got a pot full of soil left, which just shows how compact it was. So here's the final product. She's currently looking a little bit weird because peace lilies move their leaves a lot. So she's currently just going, what the hell just happened? But she looks a lot more spread out and less kind of spindly somehow. We have a lot to do to this house, so nothing's like finished. But I'm hoping at some point I get a nice piece of furniture for this corner that she can sit on. She's currently just sat on a chair, but I think this nice sunny spot will be good for her. She's got a mirror there to bounce the light back, not directly behind her, so she shouldn't burn. But we'll just see. If you do like a lot of plant care and you, oh my god, soil everywhere, and you end up with soil everywhere, I highly recommend these cloths. This is, I don't think they're like a specific brand. They're just makeup removing cloths. These are from Amazon. They will not have been expensive. Vacuum up any excess soil, then wipe whatever down. I wiped my desk and the pot down with this bone dry. It gets rid of a lot of the excess soil that wasn't like loose, and then afterwards you can go in, like dampen it, and then you can wipe everything clean, and it works so well, and they don't like flick soil everywhere. They're much better than like just a normal cloth. I don't know what they are. They're microfiber, but like worse. They feel horrible, but they're really good for getting off soil and fine for getting off makeup. Terrible at getting off mascara, but for plants, really good. I think that's everything for this week. Thank you so much for watching. I will be back next week, I hope with something that isn't peace lily propagation. I've run out of peace lilies, so it shouldn't be that. I was planning to do a philodendron golden dragon propagation, but I missed to send it this morning and I just did it. That thing is, there's nothing like the growth pattern of a philodendron golden dragon. He just grows however he wants. You know how you can propagate by putting nodes in the soil? He just does that himself. I'm like, how are you doing this? There was like a big long leafless stem and I chased both ends back into the soil. I'm like, I hadn't done that. He's done that all by himself, or I don't know, my rabbits have been doing it, but it's very strange. I might film that anyway. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next week. Bye!